Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. We're where you live your life. We're where you run your business.
Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant. Experience has always been the best teacher, so this television show is about learning best practices and good principles through the real-life stories of successful small business owners. As these men and women tell their stories, we try to capture moments and insights that could encourage all of us to live lives that are on the edge, filled with intention, willing to face a risk, and infused with the unique creativity and insights that each of us harbor. Willing to step out, follow their imaginations, and build along the way are Ann and Michael McGilvray.
Frankly, we've made a decision, or I did very early on, that I will never sell anything that's truly functional or that someone has to have.
This is a company that sells things you might not know what to do with.
I was blind before I put them on, and I'm still blind.
There's nothing serious in this showroom. Just whimsy.
You take it to your favorite restaurant and see if you can get a free meal. All right?
The magic of this place comes in the mix of Ann and Michael McGilvray.
Well, 20-something years ago, when I would be on an airplane, first of all, there were almost no women in the industry. So it was fun to say, you know, I'm a rep, and they'd say, what is that? But one time I was sitting next to a man, and it was the first time ever this happened, and he said, well, I know what a rep is because I'm a rep. And I'm like, really? So I said, what do you rep? So he got out his briefcase, and of course it was something very boring and technical, and I was just all I could do even to sit there that long and listen. So then I got out my briefcase and, you know, told him that we sold glow-in-the-dark cockroaches and this and that, and he's going, oh my God, you can make a living like that?
Since 1975, Ann has been a manufacturer's rep. She started alone with a few greeting cards, but now she and Michael have 90 sales reps covering 22 states. They represent 200 manufacturers and take care of 65,000 customers, mostly small retailers with fewer than 10 stores.
They spend a lot of time, they take a lot of care and effort to sell our product to the right stores and in the right places.
That makes our job easier. We're not set up to handle all of the customers in the office. We could never do that. The bigger companies with much more gross sales, they have their own sales staff, but the smaller companies that can't afford to have their own sales staff hire the people like Ann McGilvray's group, and they're perfect for us.
Let me go back to the definition of what you do. You said you were a rep, a manufacturer's rep. Mm-hmm. So you started in this industry repping
one product line.
Okay. And that was 20 years
Anita
ago.
Beck Cards, 23 years ago. She was based also in Minnesota, and I happened to become acquainted with her, and she said, would you like to be a rep? And I said, I don't know. What is a rep? And she explained to me. At that point, she sold you a little bag, a burlap bag full of cards for $15. That's what it costs to get into the industry for me. And so I said, fine, and my territory was Minneapolis. And she said to me, if you're really serious about this, we need to expand your territory. So Wisconsin was logical, next door. Mm-hmm. And you need more product lines. You know, you need to pay for the gas. Mm-hmm. So I added product, added territory, and I said, what do you do if you get more territory, and there's just one of you. They said, well, you hire a sub-rep. What the heck is that? And I've never used that term. I think it's degrading. It sounds very...
You hire an assistant
An
or
associate
an
rep.
associate. An associate.
Okay.
All right, so
anyway.
early on, you hired someone.
Right.
Early on.
And then another and another. And, you know, now we have 90 reps.
I think she's one of those people that you could write a book about, but she could never write a book herself about what she does. It's in the retail business, the old merchants back in the 40s and the 50s, the terminology was always a feel of the cloth.
Everyone tells us that Ann knows just what will sell.
When I first started the business, I made a great pen, and the mechanics of the pen were great. And I was packaging it in a small felt box that you've seen everywhere. What Ann and Michael did when we first agreed to do this, bring it into the markets in fall of 1990, sitting down with a meeting, it was all set, to bring it to the markets, and I showed them the pen. They says, well, what's next? I just worked so hard in putting this whole project together, I hadn't been thinking about what's next. They not only made me think about what's next, but we package our pens in a handmade oak box. I had been thinking along those lines, and I brought it out of my bag, and I says, this is what's next. She says, well, don't bring it out till you've got that box. And the box has been an immense improvement into our product and making it a gift. And that's what a rep does for us at a small business, is they bring that knowledge that they have of what people buy and why they buy it to a guy like me that has a love of pens.
She has been asked several times as to how she got into what you might call mercantilism versus, you might say being a housewife or a mother, and she's both of those things as well. But she said that one time when she was in kindergarten, they had two little houses, and one was a home setting and one was a retail store. And all the other little girls in her class went over to be mommies in the little house they had set up, and she went over and ran a store.
It's your classic rubber ducky, such as that one. We're going to start seeing this image appear on a lot of things.
Someone told me Ann has an ability to pick something ahead of the trend.
And that's a problem.
What do you mean?
Because sometimes we bring it in maybe 3 years, 5 years ahead of the trend, and we give up on it before it hits. Oh, this has happened a lot of times.
Okay,
Trolls.
Trolls?
I had a feeling that they were coming back. I really, really did. I just had this feeling. And so we picked up a line. They were wonderful. We couldn't give them away. And 5 years later, it was the biggest thing ever,
Well, what did you hit on? I mean, you missed that one because you were ahead.
Sometimes, and this is very true, sometimes we can actually make a trend happen.
Right, how does that happen?
Because of the number of states that we cover, and because of the sheer numbers of our reps. 4 showrooms, if we focus on it, we make it look important, retailers think it's important, and we,
This would be like a
like
full court
black
press.
and white cows. I swear to goodness, I really think we had something to do with that. Now, that was 15 years ago or so.
Right. All manufacturers' rep companies are basically sales organizations. The name of the game here is recruiting, training, and retaining.
About, I guess, 2 years ago, we introduced a program with our reps, and it was basically, who do you know?
Right.
And so this is still in its infancy.
Is it working?
It is working. We've got some good people as a result. Actually, if we had started it many years ago, there would have been many bonuses paid because so many of our people, we have mothers and daughters and sisters and cousins and, all the things that large corporations frown upon. It used to be someone would call the applicants we were interested in. You'd talk to them on the phone for an hour, hour and a half. And then we developed sort of an applicant packet about this thick. What they receive are copies of former, previous newsletters, talks about our reps and some of the things they do in their backgrounds. We send them a handful of catalogs, basically to say, is this the kind of product you would enjoy selling? This is representative of what we do. And then at the page 3, it said, okay, you've read this far, basically. And it says, are you prepared for a very difficult first year? You know,
Of
can
making
you
no
make-
money the first
Well, possibly, it could
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, really.
You
I mean,
know,
if you've never
can
sold
you, we ask for a 2-year commitment. Of course, you can't hold anyone to that. But we say, really think about it. And if you're not in a position, you know, financially, emotionally, I guess that really isn't the word we use in the letter, but to make that commitment, then please don't apply. You know, we don't want to waste your time, our time, our vendors' time.
These are the facts. This is what it's going to take.
Right.
And
And
you
then we
probably-
use a psychologist at that point.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we initially used the head of testing and psychology at SMU, and he developed somewhat of a profile looking at our top reps. You know, what are the components that you see again and again and again? In the most recent years, we're hiring quite a few people who have been in sales. We used to not do that. You know, we're not hard sell. That's very important. But there are, you know, a certain style of selling and certain things that we look for and expect from a rep that may not have been the case in their previous job. So the person comes under any circumstance to Dallas or Chicago or Los Angeles, depending on where they are, for 3 days of training, 2 days, you know, nuts and bolts kind of thing, you know, how to fill out an order form, you know, concentrating on their product lines. And then one of the 3 days, we send them out into the field with a senior rep.
Bringing a person in now is very serious. It's a serious activity. There's a training process. There's a big fat book. There's all this stuff you're working on. Is that because of mistakes in the past? You say
You mean mistakes in selection of
Yeah,
hiring?
yeah.
We still make mistakes. It just blows my mind. You know,
mean, are you
people will tell
tweaking-
you what you want to hear. There's no doubt about it. You'll say, "Can you financially afford this?" You know, "Oh yes." And then 2 weeks later, they'll tell their mentor, the person they're with for a year, "Oh my gosh, you know, I don't know how I'm going to pay my phone bill." Or, you know, they're expecting me to go to the border of this state. You know, my gosh, I'd have to stay overnight. And when that comes up 2 or 3 weeks into it, it's like, oh Lordy.
So one piece of advice is cut your losses. Just know that
We'll
you.
put the poor rep out of their misery too. Sometimes they're really almost, I mean, seriously, sometimes
or
they're
the
like,
poor
thank
employee,
you.
whoever it is. If you're somebody in
Yeah.
your organization that's not performing, let them go someplace else or help them go someplace
Right,
else.
right.
Your reps work as self-employed individual. I mean, as independent contractors, self-employed. You own a business. They own their business. What's the difference between you and them?
Well, basically, all we're providing for them is a wonderful package of product to take out there. We're providing them training. We're providing them, you know, sort of their foot in the door because our company is established.
Right. So
You know,
does that make you
and,
feel good
oh,
that when they succeed, it's like you've created an opportunity for someone to make
This
it on
is
their
one of the
own?
things Michael and I really enjoy, watching that person not only succeed but blossom, you know, the personality coming out. And this kind of career allows you to really be yourself and reflect your own personality.
Jewelry?
Are you testing a product? Based in Dallas, they own this building, which houses their largest showroom and support staff of 20. They also have showrooms in New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Ann and Michael have tiny, plain offices here, but primarily work from home on their kitchen table, as they have for 23 years.
Most of the people, and they're very good people, that run rep agencies are in fact salespeople themselves. They're second generation, third generation salespeople. When I came into the company, that wasn't my forte. That wasn't my, you might say, profession. It wasn't my training, etc. So as a result, what I brought, I think, to Ann McGilvery and Company was more of the systems.
Michael is leading the way to a paperless environment. Sales reps are converting to electronic ordering.
There is a new system that has come out into the marketplace over the last several years called EDI. It's basically electronic data interchange or interface. It's a system that allows people to communicate electronically between the vendor and the retailer, whether it be a vendor who's working with Penny's, whether they're working with Dayton Hudson. It's a communications that allows them to look at their orders, They transmit orders electronically. Again, same day, same hour, you might say. You're dealing with people that get invoices, same day, same hour. The retailer is getting the product shipped to them faster. The vendor, because it's all being done electronically, is getting paid faster.
We put together a CD-ROM catalog for the first time. This will eventually link into our reps' abilities to sell via computer. So they'll be able to, for instance, call up an item on this CD-ROM catalog. They'll be able to click and move that over to the order form that they're filling out for the customer, and continue to move through that way, and automatically then print out afterwards the purchase order in duplicate copies or whatever, and send electronic files of that to the various manufacturers and into their in-house systems. And we're trying to coordinate with that.
About 4 years ago, I saw this coming in terms of working, for example, with JCPenney's. And you say they're the masters of their destiny, and they take the position that if you want to do business with us, this is what you need to do. And so you have a choice. Do I do business with them, or do I walk away from that business? And I also at the same time know that I represent very small vendors who would not have the resources on their own to go out and buy the systems necessary to do business with Penny's. So what we did, we made, again, a financial investment in the systems, and we allow our vendors to use our system to do business with Penny's.
Well, it's made our life easier. We can do our orders on the computer, and then we can send the orders via internet right to the companies. Say I wanted a company, SI, Sydney's Silkscreen, that's the one I want. I press enter, the address comes up, I have a PO number. Say they want to order Club Earth products. I can go down to Club Earth, it will bring up the products in this field. So when I want to order, I just go down here and click, it will automatically fill out the order form. And it saves a lot of time in the evening when you normally sit and fill in all the headings. Well, we'll have everything on the computer, and there will not be a paper trail. With paper, you can always lose it. There's a lot of information you have to have. You have to have the numbers, the product numbers, the quantity, the price, and then you have to manually do the addition. With the product on the laptop, it does all the addition for you.
Well, actually, it's making it so that I work smarter and not harder. I am becoming more error-free, and I am one of those people that does not have pretty handwriting. It brings it up very quickly for me, and I'm able to adapt and adjust very quickly in the sales call, which is very important these days when it's a highly competitive industry. I make more money by being able to suggest quicker and faster. We can, if we need something on golf, we can find 6 or 7 manufacturers. We're not flipping through a book and looking like, oh wait, you know, I only have a little bit of time to be with that buyer, so I need to be smart and be able to show things very quickly.
Again, it's a matter of having to look at the future, and you have to be willing to make those kinds of commitments because it is the future.
When Michael joined Ann in her business, the company was doing $2 million in sales. Now, they gross over $60 million per year, selling the same types of products Ann started with in 1975. Learn from Ann that you can have fun, and learn from Michael that someone has to pay attention to the details and build an infrastructure to handle and sustain growth. Having cut his teeth in corporate America, Michael knew systems had to be put in place and that technology will always play an important role in the life of any company. Also, Michael and Ann knew they had to invest in the future. They would not use earnings for a fancy personal lifestyle. They were always considering the needs of the company. The old cash register mentality was replaced with solid accounting practices and dollars set aside for constant upgrading of their technology. So you can keep dreaming dreams just as long as you keep your sights set on clearly defined goals. At smallbusinessschool.org, there is self-help study for people who want to start a business and for those who want to grow the business they have. From the home page, choose Steps to Start or Steps to Grow. Next, you'll find 8 steps or stages of growth. At each step, you'll find links to more resources. Also, from the home page, you can choose Learn Online for access to streaming video and interactive study guides. Ann and Michael have two sets of customers, the vendors they represent and retailers they sell to. Ann's newest fascination is their new retail store because she is learning more about her retail shop owner customers by being one herself. This is the ultimate customer service strategy. Become your own customer. See how it really feels to make a retail shop profitable.
That's my baby.
It's your baby because you wanted to do what your customers are doing.
I like seeing this product in a retail environment, in my own retail environment, where I can control it. I can buy it or not buy it, or move it here or move it there. And
So is that part of your future? Is that part of the fun that keeps you hyped up and motivated? Because if this is also hard, which I understand, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying.
That's a very good possibility. You know, the first day we opened, we had people come in and say, multiple people, is this a chain? And of course we said no, it was one. And finally we started saying, well, it's the first of a chain.
What do you think it takes to run a small business?
I think it takes a work ethic. I think it takes a commitment. And I think that's oftentimes why some businesses succeed and some fail. If you look at the individuals running the business, there's a lot of people in business today. There's a lot of people, even in my own company, sales reps, that they think this is what they want to do. But when they really get into it, where the rubber hits the road, they don't want to work as hard as they thought they did. They didn't want to make the sacrifices they thought they'd have. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
And I think that's what it really takes. If you look at small businesses today, you will, if you took each one and analyzed it in its entirety, you would probably see that maybe the people weren't willing to make the commitment, the time.
I've run into friends over the years who said, oh, are you and, maybe I haven't seen them in 20 years, are you and Michael semi-retired? And I'm like, oh, are you crazy? We have never been worked so hard in our lives, you know? Knowing what I know now, knowing the size of it, I would no more start over and rebuild this for anything. I mean, it's too much.
You know, it's not so much looking at the clock, it's more a matter of doing the job. And as a result, if that job takes 15 hours, then it takes 15 hours. If it takes 18 hours, fine. And I'll be candid with you. There's days it's taken 3 hours and I got out of Dodge. You know, but generally you look at, you know, your business is more as a project-driven business than as an hour-driven business. If you start looking at your hours, you're really probably not intended to be in business, not whether it be this business or any business. I will tell people right up front, this is the privilege of working 60 hours a week. You just get to pick the 60.
Is 60 million really a lot better than 2 million?
I think you probably have more headaches at 60 than you have at 2, but I also think you have a better lifestyle at 60 million than you do at 2. And I think you also have a situation where you literally have the ability to help a lot more people. You know, at 60 million, when you have 90 sales reps, I feel the success of this company is because of the quality of our people. My wife can find product lines, but if you don't have quality people to sell them, what good does it? You know, I can sit back there and have all the systems in the world, but what good does it do it? So when you get right down to it, I think it's the quality of your people. I think it's the quality of people that we have in our offices. It's the quality of people that we have out there in the sales field. And that's what our customers like too. People will consistently tell us, whether it be a major account or a small account, they truly enjoy working with our reps. And I think the reason for that is because our reps enjoy selling this kind of product. This is whimsy. How many jobs can you have that you can have fun selling whimsy?
I can't imagine I'd be doing anything else. I mean, I can't even imagine it. And Michael and I both have days where Michael will almost say, you know, pinch me because I think I'm going to say I love what I'm doing today. And remind me I said that. It depends on which day and what time of the day, and that would be the same for Michael. And we do share that with each other when we have one of these really exhilarating, and they're not usually the same day. I'm like, I love what I'm doing today. And Michael's, are you crazy? You know, you've got all the fun stuff, he says. And I do. I do have lesser of the headaches. In fact, it's kind of known. If you're calling with good news, ask for Ann. And if there's a problem, why don't you just ask for Michael? Otherwise, they're going to transfer you to him anyway. And that's why I'm queen of the moment. Mr.
Queen of the moment,
Long-term.
Mr. Long-term.
When he describes himself as the fellow in the parade who followed the elephant with the shovel. And there's a little truth in that.
Ann and Michael are using e-commerce to grow their business. You can too. Today, it's easy, it's simple to install, and it really doesn't cost a lot. There are no technology barriers to entry any longer. Remember, keep dreaming dreams, see a new future, but always keep your sights set on a clearly defined goal. I'll see you next week.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. We're where you live your life. We're where you run your business.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There's streaming video and interactive study guides. The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.